This is Ian Rappaport from NFL Network. You're killing me, Smallz.
This is Bucky Brooks of the NFL Network. You're killing me, Smallz.
Hey, this is Chris Heck, president of the 76ers. I just want to say, you're killing me, Smallz.
Hey, this is former Sixer and Tar Heel George Lynch. Smallz, you're killing me.
Hi, this is Kenny Albert. You're killing me, Smallz.
You're killing me, Smallz.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Killin' Me Smallz podcast. I'm your host, Mike Small. Please follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeSmall. And I am honored. It is an honor. I know you're a very humble guy, Bob, but it is an honor to bring in a legend. This is the third appearance for Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe, the legendary Boston journalist. And I know I grew up watching the sports reporters every Sunday, waiting for you and Mike Lupica to get in a fight. But I definitely enjoyed the show. It was must-see TV every Sunday morning. I've been reading your articles forever. This is your third appearance on the show. It is a genuine honor to have the Hall of Famer, Bob Ryan, on the Killin' Me Smallz podcast. Bob, welcome to the show.
Oh, yeah, nice to be here, Chris. Mike, thank you.
Thank you. I have to, we have to give a shout out to a big fan of yours who I work with, Colleen Shogren. So shout out to Colleen.
Colleen, thank you. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it.
All right. So we've got to get into this. So there's been a lot happening in the basketball world since your last appearance, and especially in Sixerville. I remember one of your last appearances. It was during the Ben Simmons fiasco. And there was a rumor that Ben Simmons there was interest from the Celtics in Ben Simmons. And I believe the quote that you had for me was, if Ben Simmons was coming to Boston, I would stop the plane from landing on the runway. So that worked out for the Boston fans and for yourself. But we're stuck with this guy now. He was fun for a little bit, and he was certainly fun in game 1 and 4 of the playoffs against your beloved Celtics, but he was not much fun in game 6 and game 7. Now he opts into a contract and demands to be traded to one team that apparently doesn't want to give up anything for him. And now we're stuck with this guy. How does this end, Bob?
Badly, no matter, of course. I just don't see how, if he doesn't yield and decide he would go somewhere else, I don't know what they can do. Really, I'm tired of the whole thing. I'm tired of him. I had enough of him, and the whole act. I mean, he willed himself out of 2 places now at least, or I lost count. And I'm tired of it.
3 in 2 years.
And I'm not. Yeah, and I'm not. He's not worth it anymore. He has his moments, but not enough of them. He's aging, and the aging players do. They show you what a flash of who they used to be at times, but then they revert. They remind you how old they really are. And his game was very physical, very active. It was hardly a glider. He had the ball all the time. He may have dribbled the ball more in the last 20 years than anybody on earth. And run the clock down farther for himself than anybody on earth. I never was a fan of his style. I grudging appreciation for what he got done. He had some, my funny thing, Mike, is, and about not funny, but my interesting thing is, I don't know where he must bribe squirt kickers in the league. How do you get these assists? You don't remember any of them. You see the game after the game's over and it says, 22 points, 10 assists. What? Where'd they come from? So I guess that's a skill. But he's the most unmemorable assist guy ever, I think. And I'm just tired of it. We don't need him. The basketball world doesn't need this guy anymore. Goodbye.
Well, scarily, from the assist perspective, he is by far the best person to have gotten Joel Embiid the ball in the Joel Embiid era. Ben Simmons sometimes was able to do it. It's unbelievable how you can have a team go 8 years without a single person who could feed the post. So Harden was able to do that. So I'll give him credit.
You see him,
and he did have some good sequences, and he did have a nice pick and roll game with Embiid. But think about this: the guy could have just walked and been a free agent, signed anywhere he wanted. He takes the $35 million opt-in and says, trade me, but to this team. I don't know.
Would somebody out there give him 35 mil at this point in time? I can't imagine. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine. I think he did the smart thing by opting in. He's going to, they're locked now. They have to deal with it. And so in that sense, he outsmarted them, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not surprised he opted in, given the fact that I think we both agree it's kind of questionable, what the market is now. Really, what is the market for James Harden at this stage of his career?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. You mentioned a few minutes ago, about how he just chose one team. I can't come up with 3 teams that would want him. I could come up with maybe Toronto. I could come up with the Clippers for sure.
Yeah.
Miami if they don't get Dame Lillard. But can you imagine him in Heat culture? I can't.
No.
Can you come up with another team? I mean,
no, not Miami. No, they do have something good going there, and this Spoelstra has established a true, legitimate culture down there. And no, I don't think so. No, and because the Clippers, I mean, what they've had plenty of time now to say yes or no and make it happen, and they obviously don't seem too interested. I don't know. You say Toronto, okay, fine, but
I'm just throwing it out there. Who could use a point
right?
guard?
I know. I mean, but once again, like this is what I'm about to say is true in every sport of so many people, and it's the times that we've come to live in. Is that at a reasonable rate, you could see someone taking him on to pay him what he's properly worth now, not what he's earned. Not the stature of salary that he's earned in the current market. The way the salaries have escalated, he's not worth anything. He's not worth anywhere near that. He's worth 1/3 of at most of the 35 million in this market. And to see, so in a saner world, a team would take him at a reasonable rate.
So help me out from a Sixers perspective. You know Daryl Morey a little bit.
No, I don't.
Oh, you didn't get to know him when he was in Boston?
His time. I retired officially from day to day 2012. I never got to know Daryl Morey.
Gotcha. Do you have an opinion of him?
Yeah, I have a professional opinion. I have no feel for the man that he is and what he's like. I'd love to know him, really, just because he's such an important figure in the game. He's become. But I am on record. I've been kidding for a number of years about his destructive tendency, hold on basketball, and the Daryl Morification of basketball, and the most insidious phrase I've ever heard in my life in sports, which is the worst shot in basketball is the long two, and it makes me sick every time I hear it. And all right, I'm a little hyperbolic there. It angers me every time I hear it. And he is responsible for the desecration of the game as it's devolved into a 3-point mania nonsense instead of real basketball, where we have a balance of inside and outside, and he's as responsible now as anybody. So that's my opinion of Daryl Morey, the professional, but I have no opinion of him as a person.
I just wish we could get you to open up. I wish we could get you to just share an opinion.
Well, it's just I love this game. I grew up with this game, and they've messed around with it, and some nights it's utterly unwatchable and farcical because of this 3-point mania that. And not everybody's ever going to be what the Warriors were at their peak. That may never happen again. And they played their game right in the new world better than anybody's ever played it, or maybe might play it for another 25 years. But there's no other team that can do that.
So getting back to the Morey side of things, the Sixers could have just let him walk. They could have said, "Okay, just go," and then they're in cap hell for a year. And there you have it. Why wouldn't they just take a couple of second-round picks and call it a day at this point? I mean, at some point, it's got to end. I mean, I've got to think that the distraction, when you've got the MVP of the league, you've got a budding star in Tyrese Maxey, they've signed a bunch of dreck this offseason, Mo Bamba and Pat Beverly and Kelly Oubre. And, it's not anything to be excited about. It certainly didn't sell one ticket. Why would
I can't answer that question, of course, and they must. I don't know. They can't be hoping that Harden's going to change in any way.
Imagine him and Nick Nurse's defensive philosophies. I mean, that's going to be that would be a better than Hard Knocks.
No, but no, I can't. I don't have the real answer. That will have to go into category of a rhetorical question. Why they wouldn't do that? Because they're not going to reap the benefits of anybody that worth anyway getting that kind of money. I'm sorry.
Right. No, absolutely. One of the things that I love to talk to you about is the history of the game. And I love reading and learning. And, I go back to the very first basketball game I went to was a preseason game at Cherry Hill East High School, right when the Sixers got Dr. J. And George McGinnis and Dr. J were playing the Baltimore Claws. How's that for a memory? So that's what I go back to.
Wow.
When you think about Harden, do you have a comp of any era where a guy is so polarizing, an incredible scorer, doesn't give a damn about defense, and is as selfish as he is off the court? I guess.
No, I can't. He's got a particular niche that's all his own. I mean, there've been infuriating players at times, or perplexing players. You mentioned the Sixers. Well, World Be Free. When it was a perplexing player. At times, he averaged maybe 30 points a game, but he drove you crazy while he was doing it, and he was never noted for his defense either. But no, I was thinking of polarizing player, a great player that was in his time and any time really. It was Rick Barry, and he had a list of enemies everywhere, and but he wasn't a great defensive player either. And he was so I don't know, maybe Rick Barry as a personality package to go along with great skill might be the closest thing.
That's an interesting one. So when we look at the NBA today, you're looking at this Harden thing, and Dame Lillard, same thing. I'm going to Miami or bust. Is this dangerous for the game in your opinion? The way that and what could or should?
Well, it's dangerous in the sense if it gets his way, that. But let me say this: this idea, it is not a completely modern phenomenon. It is more prevalent now, and it came to a head with the formation of the LeBron James general manager job to put together the champion Heat. Okay, that's where we got started on this, and that's where we're playing off now. I can tell you there were two guys in their time who got their way, who willed their way out of where they were. One guy did it twice, and they are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, got himself out of Milwaukee to Los Angeles, and when there was no free agency of any kind, and Wilt Chamberlain, who got himself from the 76ers, from the Warriors to the 76ers, who are the remnants of the Syracuse Nats, of course, and then on to Los Angeles, where he finished his career. He did it twice. So it's not like it's never happened. You have to have, but those two guys got it done. So they set the table literally 50 years ago.
I want to get into the Sixers and the Celtics a little bit, but if you'll indulge me to do a quick commercial.
Sure.
And this isn't a paid ad. This is a public service announcement. My daughter had a brain tumor back in 2016, and she's doing great. She's actually on full scholarship at Notre Dame, academic scholarship. She's doing amazing things. But one of the amazing things that she did is she realized when she was going through treatment at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, she realized that there were so many things for the babies, but there was nothing for the teens. So we've put together a charity. She's the founder. I'm the chairman. Our whole family's involved, called Small Miracles. And we raise money for children going through chemotherapy. We've raised over $175,000 in the last 4 years. We continue to grow with that. And if you're interested in being a part of it, please go on the website. It's smallmiracle.org. You can read about Jordan's journey, and you can donate or be a part of it any way that you'd like. So would really appreciate you checking that out. And again, smallmiraclesinc.org. All right, so thank you for indulging me on the Small Miracles ad, and hopefully you get a chance to check it out. Unfortunately, we lost Bob. There were some technical difficulties. I think there's some weather going on up and down the East Coast. I know we're supposed to get something tonight. So, but it really, Chris, our producer, everybody say hi to Chris Deibler, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. You know, Chris, it's such an honor when Bob Ryan joins the show. I love it so much. He's such a wealth of information and credibility, and he's just so nice. Like, I've built a relationship with him off the show where, you know, we'll connect once in a while, and he's just such a nice person.
Absolutely. I loved his take on James Harden. I love the belief that national media are souring on everything that James Harden stands for, which is kind of, like you said, Mike, ruining kind of the state of the NBA. It is a players-driven league, but man, these guys are babied. They are spoiled. You can't just have a temper tantrum and get what you want after just signing a contract, man. It is a brutal thing, and I'm with you, man. Terrence Mann, you know, I'm at the point where I'm convincing that these guys.
Norm Powell in a second. I'm good. Let's call it.
Yeah,
man.
Like,
give me Norm Powell.
I am freaking ready to hand the keys to Tyrese Maxey. Let's see what we got with this guy, good and bad. You know, for better or worse. Is he a floor general? Absolutely not. But what will he look like in a Nick Nurse system? They brought in Patrick Beverley. They brought in some other guys. Kelly Oubre has some playmaking skills that maybe Nick Nurse could untap.
I love your optimism. Pat Bev is washed. Mo Bamba. Actually, I actually more excited about Mo Bamba than any of them because he always hits like 6 threes against the Sixers. He's got the, what's the guy's name on Toronto? The Chris Boucher effect on the Sixers.
Yeah,
I'm excited about him. Kelly Oubre.
Huge fan of Chris Boucher.
Yeah, me too. Kelly Oubre. Come on. I mean, he can score. He can score. I think. What did I hear this week on? Was it on Rights to Ricky Sanchez? One of them that, you know, that there were players that were just begging them to not play him, and they did a phantom injury at the end of his run at Golden State because he was such an annoying player to play with. I'm not optimistic there, but look, it's a warm body, and you know he's got to be better than Furkan Korkmaz. What can I say? So
that's what it is. That's exactly how you have to look at the lens of the signing, because at the end of the day, he's signed for pennies. You know, he's signed to what, like $2 million. If he hits, great. If he doesn't, who cares? Like, that's the take. You're paying nothing for this guy. If it does click, if he does buy in to a Nick Nurse system where he can move the ball and score and be a 6-man, be a spot starter, kind of be a scorer that they need, especially without a James Harden on the roster, there is some benefit to it. I mean, the numbers are pretty good, Mike. Like, he shot 38% on wide open threes last year. He shot.
How many assists did he have?
Exactly.
The dude reminds me of everybody that I played with outside back in the day that would like, I'm open, and it's not happening. Maybe they've seen me shoot. That's why I wouldn't get it. But
is he a black hole in offense? Absolutely.
Yes,
no question.
Yes.
But that's what you're hoping. That you're hoping that Kelly Oubre kind of has that reality check that this offseason, dude had 20 plus points a night and couldn't find an NBA team to give him a worthwhile contract. That's got to be humbling. Just as much as hopefully, James Harden is having that reality check right now as well. But my goodness, I like it. I'm not gonna lie. This is the first signing that I'm like, okay, like this is definitely not going to move the needle. It's definitely not going to be a difference maker. But in the grand scheme of things, for a guy that's at the end of the bench, this is a solid like B+ signing, man.
I mean, who else is out there? It's not like, there's been somebody that they've been, oh, I wish they would have gotten Austin Rivers. Whatever.
Yeah, no. And the caveat is Tyrese Maxey is going to get thrown into the fire. And I'm okay with that. Like, it's like Jalen Hurts like a year ago from now. Like, let's see what we got. Tyrese Maxey is about to get an unbelievable amount of money. He has grown leaps and bounds every single year, especially as a shooter. I guarantee you that dude is in the gym, breaking it down with Nurse, working on his playmaking, working on his, different moves, speeds to attack the basket, his vision, his ability to see the floor when driving. We already know he's elite at the rim. He just needs to grow as a playmaker. And I'm
excited a victory lap on something
in clutch moments down the stretch with Joel Embiid. There's definite upside there.
Yeah, no, I love him 100%. Let him have the ball. They did fine before the Harden trade when he was running the show, and he's a better player now than he was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm going to take a victory lap since you brought up Jalen Hurts. Do you remember when Jalen got drafted? You were so mad. And I wore the Alabama Jalen Hurts jersey. And I told you the kid's special. There's something to him. All right, there's my victory lap. My other victory lap was I wanted Halliburton, not Harden. I'm wrong about everything else, but I'm going to take those two.
Man, could you imagine Halliburton and Maxey going forward as your backcourt with Joel Embiid? Oh my God! With Tobias,
imagine that.
Tobias off the books next offseason. Oh my God!
All right, try this. What about DeJounte Murray and Maxey?
Yeah.
What about who else did they not? What about my guys, De'Aaron Fox? I don't think they were going to trade him, but man, he's great. They all the guys that they could have had. All Maxey needs, if they had a big guard, sorry Ben Simmons, who could shoot next to Maxey, they're a championship team.
Yep, no question. I'm also excited to see what we got in Jaden Springer. He's not a big guard, but he's built. And he's definitely a defensive presence. I don't know how much he's going to play. I'm trying to drink the Kool-Aid, man. We are 2 weeks away from basketball season, man.
I'm out. You know what? Let's go watch some Monday Night Football. Let's end it here. Thank you to the great Bob Ryan. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Thank you to the great Christopher Deibler, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. I am Real Mike Small on Twitter. We'll see you next week for the Killin' Smallz podcast.